Analysis of Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. Within 8 short lines, we find a profound and universal truth. This will be a succinct video, so let's get straight into it. Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold, her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down today, nothing gold can stay. We see that the poem's title becomes its final line, suggesting that the final line is a conclusive truth, a proof of what was proposed in the beginning. This may also suggest that the poem describes some kind of loop or cycle. Let's see how it goes. Line 1. Nature's first green is gold. Although we often associate nature with green, what precedes this green, even if short-lived, is gold. New buds and trees are often gold, orange, or pale green. The poem posits that what we see around us is actually a sort of aftermath, a result of a previous burst of life. Gold is typically linked to value, riches, purity, and beauty. This superior color is the beginning of all things, but before long, the gold fades into green. We'll look at the implication of this a little later. Let's go down to line 2. Nature is personified, being called her. The line confirms that it is difficult for nature to maintain its golden state. It is the hardest hue to hold. As we reflect on how difficult it is for nature to hold that hue, the heavily alliterated sound is an imagery of exasperation. Speaking of alliteration, the alliterated g sound in line 1 underscores the important comparison between the green and the gold. Natural gold is sometimes used to represent transience, as it does in The Road Not Taken, with the imagery of the autumn leaves and the yellow wood. Here, the gold represents a different kind of transience. It focuses on the quickness with which beauty fades. In life, we often try to hold on to gold. We want every wonderful thing to last forever. We wish to remain young forever. We wish to remain passionate about what we do. We wish to remain in a state of bliss, to continuously feel that first burst of love for someone. But that high is very short-lived. All good things come to a quick end, and the gold eventually turns to green. Line 3. Her early leaves a flower. Here, leaf extends on the green from line 1, while flower extends on the gold. Nature's early leaf is a flower. This might literally refer to the initial flowering of spring plants. As we think about the transition from gold to green, as the transition from young to old, we can grasp yet another meaning of flower here. As nature is made to be a woman, perhaps in reference to Mother Nature, this flower might represent the innocence of youth. It might even represent a woman's virginity. Eventually, the flower will change to leaves. The deflowering, as it were, is the loss of innocence. With words like first and early, we see that time is of the essence. The poem tries to slow down the flow of time with the end stops that are at the end of every line. Still, the contractions in natures and leaves work to hasten the flow of time, developing a tension between transience and permanence. Even though we want things to last forever, change is inevitable. All things must come to an end, even life. In line 4, the speaker even puts a time limit on the flower's lifespan. After an hour, the golden flower turns into leaves. Hour, metonymically, is often used to represent a small amount of time, or just a finite time frame. Otherwise, it might be a hyperbole that Frost uses to emphasize how quickly the flower's beauty fades away. In line 3, the L sound is alliterated, giving us the blissful singing of la 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 la, her early leaves a flower. In the golden state, nature is rejoicing, singing perhaps. However, in line 4, the assonated O makes a mournful sound, but only so an hour. In line 5, we have leaf subsiding to leaf. First, the golden flower subsided to leaf. Now leaf subsides to leaf. After that significant change from gold to green, the flower to leaf, the other changes that follow are insignificant. Going from 10 to 15 years old is much more significant a change than going from 50 to 55. As we get older, the rate and significance of change slows. After the gold is gone, no other change compares to that. Another interpretation of leaf subsiding to leaf is in the leaves actually dying and falling to the ground, thus piling up on other leaves. If that is the case, then we have jumped from the leaf emerging from the flower to the leaf dying and falling to the ground. The flower is discussed for all of 4 lines, but the lifespan of the leaf is compressed into nothing. This is a second death. First, the beauty and vibrance of youth disappears, and now even the greenness is gone. So the flower got 4 lines and the leaf didn't even get an entire line. This might represent our perception of time relative to what we experience in time. The beginning of a journey usually feels much longer than the ending part. Going to a place usually feels like it takes longer than returning home, even though the distances are the same. The first year of anything will feel significantly longer than any subsequent year. Our childhood seems to hold far more memories than our last 10 or 20 years of adulthood. Subside is quite an interesting word here. Of course, it means to fall, but it also means to quell or to calm. This subsidence feels not sorrowful but restful, even blissful. At the end of life comes a well-deserved rest, a reprieve. Remember what I said about the title and last line being the same thing? That thing about a cycle? What color do leaves become when they fall and die? Gold. This gold that nature cannot hold on to is resurrected at death. This beauty and vibrance is re-experienced at the end of the greenness. Line 1 said that nature's first green is gold, but gold is also nature's last green. Let's go to line 6. Eden sank to grief. This must be a biblical allusion. Just as nothing gold can stay, nothing perfect can stay. Eden, according to the Bible, was the perfect home for the perfect humans, Adam and Eve. But that golden age was short-lived. They sinned, so Eden sank to grief. The scope of the poem is now expanded to cover the fall of man. Man subsided into sin, and that was the beginning of the impermanence of gold. In the next line, we see that the dawn goes down to day. Quite a strange metaphor it seems to be. Dawn is early morn. Usually, as we think of the sun rising and the change from dawn to day, we imagine an upward movement. This time, dawn sinks, dawn goes down. It means that the focus isn't on the sun, but on the goldenness of the dawn disappearing. Dawn is a beautiful orange gold, and the horizon of dawn is picturesque, to say the least. But as the sun rises, the dawn falls, the dawn fades away. The gold disappears after having lived for just a few precious minutes. We see a nice alliteration that keeps a timely rhythm in line 7. So dawn goes down to day. The alliterated words retain the core of the meaning. Dawn, down, day. In the end, and in line 8, we are reminded that nothing, not a flower or dawn or youth or perfection, nothing gold can stay. Let's spend a minute on the poem's form. We see 8 tight lines broken into 4 rhyming couplets. All rhymes are perfect, and the rhyming words share strong thematic relationships. First, we have gold and hold. Nature is trying to hold on to the gold. Then we have flower and hour. The flower only lasts an hour, and similarly, nothing will remain beautiful for too long. Then we have leaf tied to grief, since the green leaf is the aftermath of the loss of gold. And finally, we have day and stay, as it is reinforced that nothing gold can stay. The poem follows an iambic trimeter for the most part, giving us a da-dum, da-dum, da-dum throughout the poem. But lines 1 and 8 do not follow that meter. Listen. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. The leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. The meter is broken at the first and last lines to emphasize those lines' identical message, which is the point of the poem. And that is it. If this analysis helped you out, be sure to give it a like. Also, let me know your thoughts on the poem in the comments. And what poem should I analyze next? See you next time in Between the Lines.